Born during the age of the Industrial Revolution, future renowned novelist Charles Dickens personally experienced the negative aspects of working life throughout industrialization at the mere age of 12, which eventually led to the source of inspiration for many of his future works. Dickens' first work at Warren's Blacking Warehouse was that of pasting labels onto bottles of shoe polish. Dickens' working experience consisted of long working hours along with conditions much more unbearable than what a child could take physically. Despite arduous, difficult labor, the income of Dickens earned from it was not sufficient in quantity for his family to pay the sum to release his father out of debtor's prison, which he served several months before release. Oliver Twist, one of Dickens' earliest published works, told the tale of a child hardly set adrift in life, and through this, it is claimed that his novel is a reminiscent or recount of Dickens' old childhood.
In the span of 58 years, the accomplishments Charles Dickens made during this time cannot be overstated. Before setting a firm stone in the literature world with his successful novels, Dickens had the occupation of both a journalist and reporter. During these occupations, and eventually towards his occupation as a novelist, Dickens gave commentary towards his life, experiences, and a point of view of the ever-changing world through 13,143 characters spread among his literary works. As an individual who personally viewed the effects of the Industrial Revolutions ranging from mass poverty to unsanitary conditions in cities, Dickens gained an obsession towards bleakness and failure. He exemplified this obsession in his novels. In The Walk of a Workhouse, Dickens describes, in a room opening from a squalid yard where a number of listless women were lounging to and fro, trying to get warm in the ineffectual sunshine of the tardy May morning, in the itch ward not to compromise the truth. A woman such as Hogarth has often drawn was hurriedly getting on her gown before a dusty fire. She was the nurse or wardswoman of that insalubrious department, herself a pauper, flabby, raw-boned, untidy, but on being spoken about the patients whom she had in charge, sobbing most bitterly, wringing her hands. Oh, the dropped child was dead. Oh, the child that was found in the street and she had brought up ever since had died an hour ago. And see where the little creature lay, beneath this cloth, the pretty dear.
As Charles Dickens' number of written books increased, widened his use of literary devices such as symbolism. The study of this is within the bleak house, in which Dickens cleverly used the common occurrence of the fog in London as a symbol of the problems within society, and its decline, which he believed to be caused by the Industrial Revolution. From this, Dickens went from light-hearted writer to one of the bitterness, often symbolizing his own work as satire. Charles Dickens' novels regarding the bleak aspects of the Industrial Revolution gave him a runaway success, as his works were both critical and mass popular success. Giving himself the status of a celebrity at age 24 years old, Dickens' works eventually went on to create the new Victorian trend in publishing, as many of his books would become serial installments. To add to his accomplishments, Dickens' works have remained in print since the 1830s, and his characters continue to live in the minds of the masses. As one described, that he single-handedly dragged Britain up by its bootstrap.
As a journalist, Dickens began writing for the radical newspaper, The True Sun. On these articles, Dickens used extensive knowledge from the House of Reforms to assist the cause of parliamentary reform, a cause that attempted lower taxation on newspapers from 4D to 1D. In this, Dickens was successful as through the passing of the 1832 Reform Act by Parliament, the tax on newspaper was reduced to 1D. This increased newspaper sales from the average 30,000 a day to 60,000 a day. After seeing the harsh conditions of women during the Industrial Revolution, in the time span of over a decade, Dickens constantly worked on a project that assisted destitute girls and young women in London during the 1800s. Through this project, Urania College in Shepherd's Bush, a suitably safe location for young women, was established. This location not only protected women from the common crime, but it trained them for successful employment as well. Followed by this, Dickens established the Ragged Schools, through which served the purpose of educating young children under poverty.
The accomplishments and the attempted reforms of the Industrial Revolution, from describing its horrors to the common man to establishing charitable schools, Dickens' accomplishments must not be overstated. His lasting memory reads in his tomb, which reads, "He was a sympathizer to the poor, the suffering, and the oppressed, and by his death one of England's greatest writers is lost to the world.